So universalism, the view that everyone is saved. What's this overall situation in the world today? Well, by the early 21st century, our day, the trend toward universalism is evident in every part of the Christian world. This is something to really to wrestle with. We mentioned Rob Bell having an impact in the evangelical world, but earlier in the 20th century, the trend really started, for the most part, with more of the mainline Protestant churches, somewhat more liberal churches. Mainline Protestant sort of led the way, but Roman Catholicism, since about the 1980s, has had a growing contingent of people who have, some call themselves hopeful universalists, because Catholic teaching seems to be, through the centuries, that there are some who are finally lost, not everyone is saved. But a hopeful universalist, this Swiss theologian named Hans Urs von Balthasar, said that it is our duty to hope for the salvation of all. And rather remarkably, and this is the only time in the last 2,000 years this could be said, the Pope himself, Pope Francis, made a number of statements that were really shocking to the whole Catholic world, as well as others that care what the Pope might say on a theological topic. In fact, he was quoted by an Italian atheist journalist as saying that there is no hell. There is no hell. That was a direct quote. This is about a year ago, so it seems that my book came out at the right time. So this is Pope Francis saying, and he said right after that, there is no hell, there is the disappearance of souls. Now, if you look at a number of other quotations, the current Pope has seemed to embrace a view that was regarded by Catholics in the past as a heresy, which is called annihilationism or conditionalism. That's the idea. It's not quite universalism, but it's closely related, that at the end of time, God will separate the sheep from the goats, two different groups, and then almost like instantaneously, the goats will simply cease to exist. So God will cause them to cease to exist. So in the end, there are only people in heaven, but that's because of the disappearance of the other group. So that's called annihilationism or conditionalism. So that's another related view. And it seems that our current Pope, and this is why this is so surprising, it's like never before in the history of the church have these views been entertained, particularly by not someone in such a prominent position. So Eastern Orthodoxy, that would include the Russian and Greek churches, they've historically tolerated this. It was never public teaching in the Orthodox churches, but it was a tolerated view. A certain minority of theologians held that view. And then I mentioned the mainline Protestants were kind of in the lead, but really quite recently, evangelical and Pentecostals have begun to say, well, maybe this is a view that we should accept as well.